cropping. And it's a utility scale solar array. It makes 100 kilowatts of electricity, and it is so it's bigger than your house. It actually provides about 25% of the electricity that all of the businesses in the park consume on any given day. Probably not today, but on an annual basis, that's what it would generate. The idea is normally when you see solar farms, you see the panels are about 3 feet off the ground. And actually, if you've been through Lillington lately, there's a great one right there on the side of the highway. It's several megawatts, and it's just blue panels for as far as the eye can see. The problem with that is that that's all you can do with the land. You put in solar, goodbye farmland. So what we're experimenting with here is double cropping, so that 50% of the light energy that hits this field is converted into electricity, and 50% of the light energy will allow us to grow crops down below. And so then you say, well, why on earth would you want to grow something in the shade? And the answer is, as our zone changes, as North Carolina is becoming increasingly hot and increasingly arid, we are thinking that there will be some plants that will benefit from a little bit of relief from the sun. So I don't think that North Carolina will have a commercial lettuce industry 10 years from now on our current trajectory. As the lettuce industry moves north, we think that we'll still be in the lettuce business. The idea is, we haven't done it yet, but the next step on this is to capture the rainwater that comes off of it. That will involve guttering and putting in seams between the panels, and then we'll be taking the rainwater down and storing it in this pond, and then moving it back up to the crops. If you're a backyard gardener, you know that some of the diseases that we have in North Carolina is carried by the rainwater. So if you can keep the rainwater off of the leaves of the tomatoes, and just deliver the water directly to the root, then your tomatoes will last longer, and it's a sort of a season extension trick. Well, you know how sort of later in the season your tomatoes all sort of get brown leaves and sort of damp out a little bit? That's a waterborne disease that is common across all of our state. And so you notice that some of the tomato growers have started putting up high houses and hoop houses and doing different strategies to keep the water off the plants. So we'll be doing the same thing. We just got this built in the fall, and we haven't had a chance to plant under it. So, come back next year, and we'll have a thriving farm going underneath it. Maybe.